Now we're saying we're taking a few days to focus on the dress code of halacha when it comes to tefillah. Now, I want to take a step back from that. In our society nowadays, dress code is something which, to a degree, perhaps we bristle about. We're not ready for a dress code. If you look at the corporate world, it's not what it used to be. In the corporate world, in some of the new settings that they have, the higher you are up in the company, the less formal your dress code. The most successful guys dress totally wild. There's no formality whatsoever. So it's almost like a status thing. I don't have to conform. There are a few places where there's still a certain amount of formality left, but successful guys don't have to dress nice. That's a little bit the influence of the street. And we have to appreciate that there is, in the words of the Torah, Lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem. A person is not supposed to let his heart go astray, to follow the foreign and strange, incorrect philosophies of the world, but it's also acharei einechem. Whatever we see that goes on in the street very often does not match up with the Torah. Very, very often is contrary to the Torah. And so when we're about to embark on these new halachot, about what is the appropriate dress for tefillah, we're going to learn there's 5-6 different levels that the halacha is comprised of when it comes to dress. There's minimum, and then there's ideal, which we could all strive for. But the resistance that we might feel a lot of times comes from society's influence. And we have to sort of locate it, identify it, and say this is a foreign influence, and I am ready to accept upon myself the standards of Torah instead. 2 things I thought were interesting I wanted to share with you. The handbook, the dress code for the United States Army, when they're off duty, hundreds of pages long. Every detail about how the hat, which uniform you're allowed to wear off duty, the precision of every article of clothing, even when they're off duty, how much they're able to roll up their sleeves, how much they're allowed to show. Hundreds of pages for the United States Army. Number 1. Number 2, recently we reached out to a couple architects to maybe see if we could take care of a job in the house. I know nothing about architecture, but my mother-in-law is an interior designer. So I don't know rates, I don't know quality. I took the estimates from the architect and I forwarded them to my mother-in-law. Right away, she disqualified one. Why? Because the guy got our address wrong, and there were 2 words that were misspelled in his estimate. And she's thinking to herself, you're an architect. Detail is your livelihood. You can't get the address right. There are things that are misspelled in your estimate. How do I know what kind of work you're going to do? An inch off, a couple 100 pounds that you misjudged, there goes the security of the structure. So details matter. And Bezrat Hashem, as we go through some of the halachot, we're going to appreciate a little bit what the Torah is aiming for us and expecting of us when it comes to how we present ourselves in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're realizing that the details matter. We dress for success, starting with tefillah. רבי חנניה בן הקשה אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל לפיכך ירבה להם